Okay, the meeting's live.
Okay, I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order for Tuesday, June 9th, 2020. We're holding our meeting via Zoom. Present today is Councilman Vince Pelizzi, Councilman David Banks. We have our city engineer, John Sander. We have our lobbyist, Jason Fitzgerald. We have Jerry Walls from Greenways. I can't even begin to name everything you're from, Jerry. Kayla Drummond, are you there, Kayla, from our rec department? And that's it.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, let's get started. The first thing on the agenda is review of the bicycle ordinance and resolution. Jerry, you're up.
Okay, to clarify, Bonnie, I serve also as a volunteer on the City of Williamsport Bicycle Advisory Committee. David Stone is the chair and I'm the vice chair. And we have representatives on that from Pennsylvania College of Technology, Lycoming College, a couple business persons. And so we put together in 2017 a bike routes map. And I believe that has been shared with you electronically. It was adopted at the May 25th meeting of Williamsport City Council. And then at the June 7th meeting, we were back to the council meeting and the city council unanimously enacted the Complete Streets Ordinance. So what that means is that for projects that involve street reconstruction or major changes in the streets that are shown as bike routes, those projects need, by the ordinance of the city, need to be designed so that they incorporate bike ped safety improvements. That can mean something as simple as a painted line for a bike corridor traveling in the same direction of travel as that part of the street for the vehicles. Or it can, where you've got a wide street, and that's generally not the case in Williamsport, where you've got an extra wide street. You could have a 4-foot wide striped bike corridor reserved exclusively for bike traffic, but that's not likely to be applicable in most of the city streets in Williamsport. And we have then also, as per that Complete Streets Ordinance, the need for the appropriate crossings where it's similar to what pedestrian crossings would be. And what we're working on as a bicycle advisory committee for the city is to promote the city of Williamsport as a bike-friendly community. And it's important to note that Penn College of Technology secured bike-friendly certification from the League of American Bicyclists in August of last year. That was a major accomplishment. And what we're hoping is that Lycoming College and the city of Williamsport could at some point pursue bike-friendly certification. Now, why is that important? This is not just environmental foo-foo. This is an attractive feature for a lot of different businesses to use who are trying to recruit young high-tech professionals. And one of my favorite stories is the Discovery Machine here in Williamsport that does contract work with the United States Defense Department for artificial intelligence. And the employees that Anna hires for that company are very high-tech young professionals, and a good number of them live throughout the community and just bicycle to work. And she has used that example with me on a couple occasions. But there are other companies and businesses in the Williamsport area. And when I bicycle the Riverwalk, I often will see if I'm there early in the morning, I'll see a worker with the loosened tie and the jacket and a backpack that's obviously got some sort of a folder or briefcase on their back or on their saddlebag, going to work or coming home from work. And so the concept is that we would hope that the future work on Basin Street would connect from Lycoming College down Basin Street under the I-180 overpass and cross the Lycoming Valley Railroad. I finished my term on Lycoming Valley Railroad as a county appointee, but I got the H2o Joint Rail Authority to commit in writing that they would allow that bike trail connection to the Riverwalk at grade, so you wouldn't have to go through the extra expense of a grade separated bridge, so long as that were restricted to bicyclists, walkers, and emergency vehicles. They didn't want the general public traffic coming across there because it would be too much of a safety hazard. And they also committed $25,000 of their own H2o Rail Authority money, because one other condition of their approval was the wooden cribbing that stabilizes the embankment along the railroad tracks has badly deteriorated. It's very old and it's badly deteriorated, but they'd like to see whoever submits that grant application for state funding to include that stabilization, and they pledged their $25,000 to help with that. And then the rest of the county's plan, which I worked on the feasibility study just before I retired in 2008, and we show a continuous bike trail connection on past this next phase that the county's working on to go out to Susquehanna State Park, on up to Jersey Shore to connect to the Pine Creek Rail Trail. That 65-mile trail is already completed. And when we announced that vision, I got a call from folks in New York. And so I invited them down and we had lunch at the Genetti and had a good discussion. And so now the grand vision includes the Susquehanna Greenway from the Chesapeake Bay up the Susquehanna through Williamsport to Jersey Shore to the Pine Creek Trail, up to connect to the Genesee River Trail in New York. And then that would go down through to Lake Ontario. So altogether, that'll be a 400-mile bicycle trail. That is big enough that it will get a lot of attention from folks who want to come here. So that's part of the visitor type attraction that can mean more business for our local sandwich shops, bed and breakfast, hotels, brew pubs, all kinds of businesses. So it's part of an economic strategy, as well as we've got long time continued private support from the Susquehanna Health System, because these bicycle routes and making it easier for people to bicycle help to avoid future healthcare problems. And that's why Susquehanna Health has been the longest single private sponsor for our Susquehanna Greenway partnership. I guess that's a sort of a quick summary.
Hey, Jerry, I have a quick question for you. When was the ordinance passed?
Yeah, June, the first meeting of June 2017.
2017, okay. Are you currently aware that there is a trail proposed and being constructed right now from the Riverwalk at Commerce Park Drive, although it's in Lowestoft, Commerce Park Drive north over 3rd Street with 2 bridges and on the flood dike along
Yeah.
Miller's Run all the way up there to Northway. Okay, I wasn't sure if you knew that.
That's the Miller's Run Greenway.
Yep, I worked on that. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it will. In fact, I went to Lowestoft Township office this morning for an update with Bill Burdette.
Okay.
And
Was Larson
so-
there?
what?
Was Larson there?
No,
Okay.
it was just me and Bill.
Okay.
And the phase 1 is under construction from the park and the swimming pool down behind what used to be the Army Reserve Center. It's now the Recreation Center to 4 Mile Drive. And also work is underway to then go on down the short park. Of the next phase will be from the levee and then crossing with a bridge over 3rd Street, just east of the city line, and crossing Miller's Run to connect to a trail that already exists that goes under I-180 right over to the Lowestoft bikeway that comes right into Commerce Park Drive.
Yep.
So there'll be a good connection then from these residential neighborhoods of the eastern part of the city and also the Lowestoft communities of East Hills Village and over toward the country club. All those residential neighborhoods will be connected to the Miller's Run Greenway for a safe crossing over 3rd Street.
Thank you.
So Jerry, are you still looking up for funding then?
The funding is certainly something we'll always pursue for additional projects. We would partner with your city folks for any future street renovations or work. We can add we're a 22 county nonprofit, the Susquehanna Greenway Partnership. So we would be glad to present a strong endorsement of any grant applications that the city needs to make to not only do their street repair, but make it bike friendly where that's appropriate.
I don't think we were given the okay. There's nobody here from ERC, but from the East 3rd Street project. When I know I brought that up, we weren't given an okay for that, which kind of bothered me because I think 3rd Street should have been bike rats because of where we're going with the county is going over across the river at that point. Yes, Jason.
If I could, I don't know if whoever you have on the project's exploring it, but the Arley grant, that is, that PennDOT is opening up June 1st to July 1st, fund these type of improvements. And I don't believe, can you guys hear me okay?
Jason, is there any way you get closer to your mic because you're a little choppy?
Yeah, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to hook up the mic. Can you hear me better now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that better now?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the Arley grant, ARLE, which is, it's a grant that the funds are collected through the automatic red light. So whenever, if you run an automatic red light, you get a fine, they collect that money and they put it into this fund. But that grant through PennDOT would fund these kinds of things. And that's open from June 1st to July 1st. I haven't looked recently at, I know it was Delta Development did a good job putting together a funding package there. I don't know if they've gotten Arley funding in the past or not, but that would be the program that I certainly would look at. In addition to multimodal grant funds, which are coming available in July.
But on the point that Bonnie is asking, PennDOT is now coming around to being much more bike friendly in the way they're designing their projects. That did not used to be the case. And the 3rd Street project actually goes back several years. And before some of the more receptive attitudes to making PennDOT roads bike friendly came about.
I was also told that all the work that's being done in Newbury, 4th Street, West 4th Street is too narrow.
That is an issue. And our bike routes map acknowledged that. And we were using another, I forget the name of the east-west running street that helped to achieve access. When you cross Lycoming Creek on the steel bridge that the rail authority gave back to the city, you continue straight on up the former railroad corridor into Newbury, and that then is a primary route to go on into the heart of Newbury.
Trenton Ave.
Yeah.
Yep.
David, do you have anything to add?
I do. Well, my main question would be, you know, I'm a biker myself, of both varieties. And the question really is, what can we specifically do to help, Jerry? That's one thing. The other thing is, so we all have all these bike routes listed on a map, which is, you know, all well and good, but how can we get some sort of physical representation out in the world? Because a lot of people don't know these bike routes even exist unless they're paying attention to these meetings, or they go to see David Stone. He'll give them a map.
That's a great question. We did not want to get in front of the city, so to speak, by doing any promotion of this. But I think when we arrive at a mutual understanding here, we would, as a bicycle advisory committee, and we as the Susquehanna Greenway Partnership, would be very happy to put out different e-blasts, or you put into our Greenway newsletter, and use some posters, different techniques. Maybe go on and do a radio show type of thing to get the word out. That's a great question, Dave.
Years ago, there used to be signage in places that this was a bike route. You don't see that anymore.
Well, painting of the street surface is one of the most obvious and least costly ways to let drivers know, the bicyclists can be here.
Exactly. David Banks, you said there was a problem. Where did you say there was a problem, that people kept on parking somewheres?
Yeah, so that new intersection that Larson Design put in on 3rd and Maynard, there's a bike lane coming off of there for about, I would say, 300 feet. But the residents tend to park over the bike lane prior to where it ends. So it's that's an issue, because it, in general, just diminishes the value of the bike lane, you know, for anybody who would want to use it. Not to mention that the road is narrow there, which is, the bike lane exists for the bike right away, but it also just diminishes the value of bikers in general. You know, like it's a large issue in the city. You know, when I'm riding on the streets, that we just don't have a very good bike culture. And obviously, this is what Jerry's trying to build, Jerry and David Stone. So, I mean, my general question, still stands, like, what are the steps that we could take, as a city, as a council, and the administration, that can help promote this? Obviously, we don't have a ton of money, but if we can be partners in a grant process, or, getting the word out is very difficult, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, Damon Hagan had attended our Williamsport Bicycle Advisory Committee meetings, and we haven't had one since this coronavirus shutdown. But we'd welcome you there, Dave, and anyone else from the city government. But if we could then have a specific discussion on ways to get the word out. I think there's a number of techniques that could be used, and at the appropriate point in time, Bonnie, if you would want to have a presentation made at a full city council meeting, I know those are live streamed now, so that would be another way to get some attention on it. And it also seems to me that Jason Fink, as the president and CEO of Williamsport Lycoming Chamber, who is an active bicyclist as well, sees the need for this. And I think we could arrange for him to join us for a major endorsement from the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, when we get back to normal, we'll make sure we have a presentation again, because this ordinance, like you said, was June 8th of 2017. And let's bring people up to speed of where we are, because we want to make sure our city is not only bikeable, but walkable. And this helps tremendously. So, you know, as soon as we do get back to normal. David Stone, do you have anything to add to this? Take it off mute, David. Press your space bar. David?
Yeah, press the speak or
Yeah. Press your space bar.
You're still muted, Dave.
mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we
Yeah.
can hear you now.
No, you still can't hear me?
Yeah, you hear you.
Yep,
Okay, can you hear me now?
yep.
Okay, well, again, sorry, I'm one of the technologically inept people, but I think we've made some progress. Just to kind of give you, from my point of view, a little history. We started this whole process about 5 or 6 years ago, because having been a bicyclist and gone around the country, I visited with bike coordinators in various cities, and also joined the Legal American Bicyclists to find out what to do. And one of the first things they said that a city needed was a bike coordinator. So at that time, I talked to the mayor and said that we needed one and that I would volunteer to be one. And at that point, we convened the bike committee. And our first task really was to take a look at what we'd done. We'd already at that point in time had the Riverwalk and the bridge, which I think is one of the premier attractions that we have. And I think it's a wonderful gateway. So when people come into Williamsport, they see people walking and bicycling. So it has a feeling that the city's alive. And I think that certainly contributes. And so the next thing that it said that you really needed to have was a complete streets ordinance. And so that was our next project, to go through that and to have the city come on record as saying that that the transportation infrastructure should be open to all users, not just cars, which would include bicycles, pedestrians. And I know if anybody's been watching, there's a ton of various other kinds of vehicles, including the handicap scooters and various other things. So that I think we need to recognize that transportation is more than cars, and I think we've started to do that. And that was the point of the Complete Streets Ordinance and the map that we produced. After that, we worked on a couple of other projects of trying to get bike-friendly businesses and universities. And our factory works here at the Pajama Factory was the first bike-friendly business. In fact, the year that we were recognized, there were only 2 people that were recognized in Pennsylvania. And then last year we worked with Penn College, and Penn College became a bike-friendly university, recognized nationally. And so there are now about a dozen in Pennsylvania. And I think with the new bike coordinator at Lycoming College, I think they're probably on the way to becoming a bike-friendly college as well. And this, of course, recognizes the fact that about 20% of the population of Williamsport is college students, so that and that's an important constituency. And both of those places are getting to be very enthusiastic. We're supporting both of those here. I'm down at Bicycle Recycle now, and we have a unique view of who the cyclists in town are. And one of the groups that are kind of under the radar for most people are the poor and minority community in town who use bicycles as their sole means of transportation. I'm sure we've all been out in the winter and you've noticed that there are some folks who are riding down the sidewalk in the middle of winter, and you wonder, why are we doing that? And I think the answer we found is that that's the only way they have of getting around. And so we down here at Bike Recycle have been kind of serving that market. I think, to me, one of the biggest problems we see is that many people come in and say they just don't feel safe riding on Williamsport. So we need to kind of address, how do we increase the perception that when you're riding from place to place, you're safe. There are a couple of spots that are obvious that are bad, and a lot of them have to do with the access to the Riverwalk. You know, if you see somebody who is trying to go on through over the Market Street Bridge with a family with small children and trying to navigate the crosswalks there, you kind of shudder a little bit. And the some of the other access points are equally troubling. And so that's why I think the Basin Street project is so important, as to give a safe way to get onto the bike path. So one of the things to me that's frustrating is that, and I guess I'm not a planner, so I don't realize how long everything takes, but you know, we've been at this for some time, and it's amazing how complicated and long it takes to get anything done. But the Basin Street is coming, but I mean, I think the problem is, I think we're still years away from actually being able to ride a bicycle down Basin Street and get onto the bike paths. So one of the things that I'm hoping to work with the mayor on, and unfortunately because of the virus, I haven't really had a chance to talk to him. I think we need a dedicated person inside city administration whose job it is to be coordinate bicycle activities and pedestrian activities, so that any project that goes forward is, whether it's repaving a street, putting in sidewalks. That's another problem, is the sidewalk issue. Joe Girardi, a couple of years ago, had a program that he was going to improve sidewalks. And I'm not sure whatever happened to that, but it obviously had some resistance, because the funding for the sidewalks falls on the property owner, and a lot of the property owners, especially rental property owners, seem to be unenthusiastic about improving their sidewalks. But without improved sidewalks, you're seeing a lot of, especially the handicapped vehicles going down the street. And of course, we recently had that tragic accident that involved a handicapped person on an electric scooter. And I'm not sure what exactly the details of it were, but the point is that the sidewalks really are an important part of the transportation plan that need to be dealt with. So I think a coordinator from the city to oversee something, and I know the council has an important role, but I think the city administration has to have a point person.
Wasn't
like-
Rebecca Holiday the bike coordinator when she was here?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes.
The problem with our town is, with Williamsport specifically, first off, designers are very aware of pedestrians and bicyclists, and their PennDOT is too, and there's checklists. However, our city is old, and because of that, it's narrow. And then you have the whole battle of parking versus parking lot spots on, let's just say 3rd Street, versus allowing a bike lane. I'm looking at the signing a pavement marking plan for the 3rd Street job. It's all tabbed out for parking spots. So you get that battle right there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that gets back to this question of trying to educate the different categories of people, educate the vehicle drivers, but also educate the bicyclists. I see some horrific bad practices of people in dark clothing, no lights on their bicycles at night or early in the morning. And so I think one of the things I would be happy to donate to help, both as a volunteer time and a financial donation, would be to provide Williamsport City Police Department with the easy to attach bike lights and some other safety things like that that could be used when they, as a policeman, see someone in creating a public danger because they're riding without proper illumination at night or early morning.
Yeah.
Pull them over, don't fine them, but give them those devices and say, you are required to use these now, so that you don't put in danger an automobile driver that can't see you,
Yep.
hit you, and then is responsible legally.
Jerry and
Yeah,
David Stone, I think what's needs to be done is once once we can meet, you guys can meet with your committee, get together with these ideas, and then bring it back to us of what you would like to see done. Meanwhile, I think, John, I think maybe you can talk to the mayor about somebody being
No, I'm
on.
also a bicyclist. I just like Dave, I mountain bike and road bike, mostly road bike nowadays because I don't have time to drive to the mountains. But yeah, so I'm very interested in this.
Good.
And I think David Banks. So I think if we get David Banks from the council, you from the administration, but talk to the mayor about this, and then it could be coordinated and see what we
Yep.
come up with.
Yes, but the problem is going to be our existing narrow infrastructure. I think bike paths and things like the Riverwalk and trails, they're separate, are almost primarily our only way to do this.
Mhm.
I mean, not only, but our best way to do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Just a comment. Let me get.
We lost you, Dave.
Yeah, we lost you, David.
Dave. Lost your audio.
Maybe pick it up on where he might have been going. Years ago, and I don't remember the exact date, but I still see a few signs on city streets that say a bike route, because we did have an old bike route network then.
That's what I was talking about, Jerry, about those signs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's.
Yeah, those signs were left over. There's a bike map that I still have a copy of that was out from the 70s, where the bike club designated a route and they had signs put up. Unfortunately, the hospital expansion is right in the middle of one of those routes, but those signs are there, and I think they could be brought back to life, but they really don't mean anything anymore. The other point I just wanted to make, and this is why coordination doesn't seem to work. Well, about a year ago, I talked to the chief of police and gave him 12 bike lights that I suggested that these are the type that Jerry just described, and said that they should give them out to riders that they stop at night and don't have lights. And unfortunately, that program didn't seem to take off. So that's why I think it emphasizes why we need some central coordination from the city to when we do these things, that they actually happen. The other thing that we volunteered to do, the city has at one time had police on bicycles, and they're still, as I understand it, in the basement of the city. And we volunteered down at Bike Recycle. If they needed to be repaired, we'd be happy to repair them at no cost to the city. So we are trying to do some things to help, but I think we need to have a central coordination and somebody inside and John, it looks like you may be the key guy here that can help us pull this thing together. And because I think we've had a lot of kind of disparate programs, but we really haven't had as much central coordination as we really need to make it happen.
John,
We will try as this COVID thing dissolves, or we can meet in person. Yeah, I'm more than welcome to do that.
get together with Jerry and David and David Stone and see and get your committees together and then bring it back to us. Okay.
Sounds good.
Vince, did you have anything to add to this at all? Are you there, Vince? Oh, there you go. Unmute.
No, I don't have anything to add at this time, other than I fully support it. My wife and I do enjoy bicycling around very much. We talk quite often about how great the Riverwalk is and going up the rails to trails. I think it's an absolute great thing. I've had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Walls a few times before, and I really like what they're doing a lot. And I do think, you know, we should be making the city a lot more accessible to our bicyclists. You know, they're a good thing all the way around. As Mr. Walls had mentioned, not only the health benefits, but the environmental benefits, also, you know, monetary benefits for people that may not be able to afford a vehicle or trying to save some money. So all the way around there, I think it's a great idea.
Well, this was a great discussion. Let's move it on further and faster. Okay. And we will see you back here once things are more organized. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Thank you very much, Jerry Walls and David Stone.
Thank
we'll
you,
be
Bonnie.
talking to you in the near
Bye.
future.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is Jason and Sid First. Jason Fitzgerald and Sid First to review some of the funding and grants, and which is going to be an exciting conversation. Also,
Madam Chairwoman.
I can't hear you, Jason. Something's not right.
Now,
Are you there?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members of council. Mr. Sander, nice to see you as well. Are you hearing me okay? I see Councilman Pelizzi's got his
Choppy.
It's kind of hard to hear you. I don't know what's going on with your speakers.
I know, it's this printer next to me. Catherine, can you
It's very garbled.
wait 1 second?
Okay,
It's almost done.
okay.
Bear with me.
Hi, Sid, are you there on the phone?
I am here. Can you hear me?
You are clear.
Now,
Okay,
there was somebody working on a printer in here, so it started printing, and that's why you couldn't hear me. So,
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman, members of council, nice to see you, Mr. Sander. Nice to meet you
Me.
via this mechanism. I know the major issue that Councilwoman Katz wanted us to update you on was the levy funding. We do have a pending H2o PA flood grant application, which would help to fund phase 2 of the levy project. It appears as though this will be considered at the October CFA.
you know, Jason, we still are having a hard time with your sound.
And it's very
I don't know
important
what the
stuff,
problem
too.
is.
You still can't hear me?
You're garbled.
Jason, can you just try to call in on your phone?
Yeah, I can call in on my phone.
Okay, call in on the phone.
Okay.
Are you doing that now?
Yep.
Okay. This is why I can't wait till we're face to face again.
About it, I had quite a few comments that said these video meetings, I always look like I was angry or upset. No, it was sitting in front of these computer screens all day long. I have to start to squint a little bit so it doesn't hurt my eyes, and I always have that permanent mean face.
Just turn the video off.
Hey, Jerry, while we're waiting for Jason there, sometime in the future, if we could talk, you and I could talk about the bike trail extension from Maynard Street West over to Jersey Shore, that'd be nice. I appreciate that.
Unmute, Jerry.
Jerry,
Unmute it. Hit your space bar.
there you
There
are,
you go.
Jerry.
Yeah, I'll be glad to.
Yeah, I saw plans for it, different routes, different alternatives, and I just wasn't sure where it was at, if the funding was still there or what happened to it. That was all.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a fast process.
Yeah, I know.
But I will add that the borough of Jersey Shore has just engaged a consultant to help them with funding to do the improvements on their street network because they've adopted a bike ped plan, and that the borough manager just told me 2 weeks ago that they really are supportive of trying to make the connections eastward to join up with the bike routes coming back to Williamsport.
Thank you.
How are we making out with
Can
Jason?
Can somebody unmute me?
You're unmuted.
You're good.
Okay.
You can hear me now?
We can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Loud and clear.
Okay, excellent. So I wanted to update you on the, gee, how about we shoot that one? Okay. How about now?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, do that. Do whatever you're doing now.
Yeah, whatever you're doing,
Okay,
right.
yeah, this is the toughest meeting I've ever had to be a part of. Let me close out. How about now there's no background? I'm off the screen. You can hear me. So thank you guys for having us. So I wanted to update you first off on the H2o Pa grant application, which we submitted on behalf of the city of Williamsport through Lycoming County. And it's essentially to fund phase 2 of the Greater Williamsport Levee Improvement Project. It has 3 work components. This was submitted at the direction of the governor's office after we realized that more funding was required for this project than what was offered through the flood mitigation program. So our ask on this is just under $1.5 million. It was scheduled to be considered at the Commonwealth Financing Authority meeting recently, but because of the COVID-19 situation and the movement of some funds, they're going to consider it at the October meeting. So it's important, we believe, that this grant application continues to be monitored. We do have the support of Senator Yaw and Governor Wolf, but the way that the Commonwealth Financing Authority meets is representatives from both the House Republican Democratic Caucus and the Senate Republican and Democratic Caucus have a board member who votes on this. So that's why we had suggested to the administration some time ago that we felt that it was important that we still be involved because of the intricacies of that. It's very quick. You can very quickly find yourself out of the conversation there if you're not remaining updated on what's going on and all the internal politics that's going on, in Harrisburg. So obviously, this application is critical to continuing to move forward. Penn Strategies was happy to have written and advocated for the first $1 million through the RCAP program, which really got this process started. And obviously be excited to continue to work on this project and others. The other thing, and I'm going to ask Mr. First to update you a little bit more on both what's going on with the levee project and the other potential project that we're working on, or we were working on. I guess we're not currently under contract with the city, but is the Gracias Run project. We worked through political channels to ensure that $4.5 million was placed in the capital budget. It is in the Senate version of the capital budget right now. And, obviously it's important to make sure that it stays there. And also that, when the governor signs the final piece of legislation, as you know, the way legislation works in the Senate, the Appropriations Committee will consider this bill. Senator Yall, fortunately, serves on that committee. They will make any markups to it that they would like. They'll pass it to the full Senate, and then the Senate will send it to the House, where it will go through the House appropriations process. Then hopefully the House will pass it, and then there'll have to be concurrence. So as you can see through all of these steps, it's very important in our estimation that the city has an advocate that's in Harrisburg making sure that this doesn't drop out of any bills, at any time along the way. We had originally, it had appeared in the bill. We were on contract to monitor it at the time. It disappeared from the bill because the Secretary McConnell removed it for whatever reasons. And so as soon as we realized that it was missing from the bill, we had Senator Yall place it back in. It's in there now. But, frankly, as the exchange goes on between now and whenever a capital budget is signed, which may happen. As you know, the Commonwealth passed a budget through November. Typically, the way it works is they'll pass an annual budget, and then shortly after that, every 2 years, which this is the time that it's up, every election year, every even-numbered year, they pass a capital budget. So what we're trying to monitor now is, will the governor sign a capital budget in June or July, or will he wait until November when they're essentially, figuring out where to plug revenue gaps, et cetera. One other thing, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. First, that we're watching is, as you know, and I did email you guys about this, but the Commonwealth is now deciding how to distribute the CARES Act funding. So the Pennsylvania got $3.9 billion with a B in CARES funding. It looks like in the budget, they have decided to allocate about $1.9 billion of this funding. There were 7 counties in Pennsylvania that got automatic CARES Act distributions. Those were the counties that had 500,000 or more people. The other 60 counties did not receive any direct aid. What the state is doing now is they're trying to determine how to spend this $3.9 billion. Some of it will be, as you've seen through the monies that RVT got. You saw that HUD got some monies through the city. Some of it will be through formula funding. And basically what that means is it's based upon some formula, normally population. So if you have a population of 112,000, you get XYZ dollars. The rest of it will be through competitive grants that you'll have to submit an application, go through the legislative process, et cetera. We're waiting to see how that is put out. Yesterday, the governor took $250 million, put it into a business grant program, and that's competitive. So anyway, those are the things to be looking at going forward. And I'll turn this over to Mr. First now.
Well,
Sid?
Mr. Fitzgerald didn't leave a lot left for me to say, but I have a few details that I can roll in here. Going back to the H2O, as you all may remember, the expenditures for the total repair of all the components of the levee system were broken into phases to make it more palatable for amounts of money and grant monies available. Phase 1, which dealt with the relief wells, we were able to get an RCAP grant for $1 million. Then the commissioners threw in some money. And phase 2, which is the H2O grant, is actually $3.5 million. I think Jason said 1.5. It's actually 3.5. That's phase 2 for cross pipes and some further evaluation.
For this to end over here, I'm sorry. It'll just take a minute. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to my next Zoom. I apologize. Here.
Hello.
Yes?
You all feel I'm still on?
Yep, you're still on.
Okay, Bonnie, thank you. Phase 3, so you understand the alignment, that was where the EDA grant came in, that the county put together on behalf of all the partners. That was, I think, $7 million. And phase 4, there's another, I think, $2 or $3 million that they're going to go out to EDA for that component. Just for review purposes, and you can see the funding streams. The last time, I'm a little concerned in that the last time we heard any communication from the county was February, then we went into the COVID period. And in that briefing, we were told they were finding expenditures relative to phase 1 and phase 2 that they hadn't anticipated. But I've never seen any update on that yet, and I'm concerned about what the cost pressure is going to be on phase 1 and phase 2. Maybe it's okay, I don't know. And secondly, the person who knew most about this, well, the two people who knew most about this as a county was Fran Majunkin, who retired, and Chelsea Blair, who has now moved on to the private sector. So that means that Shannon Rossman now is responsible. I think you should consider requesting a meeting with Shannon to get an update or to push her for another partner update. Think the time is moving on here. And from my experience in working with this levee project over the last 2 years, the worst enemy is to let things drag. That's my own personal concern on that. Well, moving on to the Gracias run. This is a great development. I talked to Doug Hill this morning, who some of you know. Bonnie, you know Doug for many years at DEP. Yep. He was actually the one who alerted me that he noticed that in the capital budget itemization bill that there was actually a line item in one of the sections for $3.5 million for Gracias Run. Well, that's very good because originally the Gracias Run award that we were being signaled from DEP was only $1 million. So we've got money here to grab. As Jason is saying, we got to watch this money and we got to work actively and coordinate with the city and Senator Yall's office to make sure that we don't lose visibility on this bill or where this money is going, because we just picked up on our $2 million, at least in the budget phase of this particular Senate bill. Jason covered. We're certainly seeing COVID money coming from the federal to the state. The state is still working through how all that money gets distributed. Jason updated you on some of the mechanics of how that's going to be done. And we see bits and pieces of money continually flowing down. Jason talked about the $255 million that Governor Wolf just announced, which actually will go in 3 components. $100 million will go to small businesses. Certainly Williamsport should know all about that. We don't know the details or the mapping of how that money is administered. $100 million will go to disadvantaged small businesses. Interesting component, understandable in the current situation. It's understandable why that's important. And the third component is a small amount that can go out under various community decisions. But all of that will be competitive. And as the other chunks of money come down, it's going to be very important to be on top of the game, know what we're going for, and go after it, because we are in competition. And certainly every community in Pennsylvania, if they're not going after this money, there's something wrong with them. That's my contribution.
What this boils down to is we've got to get you back on contract to make sure that we don't lose traction and lose money here. It's up to us at this point to make sure the administration is on board with this, and this has got to be done ASAP. Any remarks?
It's all hands on it. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We'd be happy to answer any.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Bonnie, if I
Vincent?
could, for Mr. First and Mr. Fitzgerald. So if we do not continue to follow up with these grants, I mean, we risk losing all of this money, potentially this grant money that we're going to need for the levee project and for the Gracias project. Is that correct?
Well, the situation is, and I'll have Mr. First answer it too. The situation is due to Pennsylvania lobbying disclosure laws. We have to file with the Department of State on a quarterly basis every entity that we represent. There are both ethical and legal issues involved, and if we're called up and ask a question, for example, the Borough of South Williamsport has retained us to do some grant work for them. Obviously, I think on the H2o PA side, we're kind of covered through that. We can advocate for them, but to be able to answer questions and to advocate and to be consistent with the Department of State requirements, we have to be retained by a client. And we are, of course, not currently retained by the city. So I don't want to say that, by not having us on board, you're going to lose grant money. But we cannot advocate for approval without being retained. And for a couple of reasons, one would be, how fair is it to other clients who have retained us if we're doing it, pro bono for the city? They might say, hey, why not do a pro bono for us? But, I think it's important to have that ongoing monitoring, at least. And then, there are on July 31st, there are, the multimodal grants are open. The Greenway Trails and Recreation Program grants are open. There are a number of things that I'm concerned that we're missing out on.
Thank you. Yeah, I've heard of that Greenway Trails grant program before, and we have Mr. Walls also on the call, but I think that's a great program too that we could all get involved with.
Yes. Absolutely.
That is what one of the funding sources that we're using in Jersey Shore to take care of a section of their streets, so there's a better connection between the rails, the trails, and the river access that was put in. We're using that.
So Penn Strategies is currently representing Jersey Shore for their street updates for the bicycle rails to trails. That was referenced earlier, I believe, with the conversation with Mr. Walls.
Yep. We represent the Jersey Shore Borough, and we also represent the Tideouten Valley Regional Police Department.
Okay. So when it comes to looking to secure grant funding for the bicycle paths and whatnot around our streets, you guys are pretty familiar with that then. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Absolutely. We also coincidentally, Jason and I are board members of Susquehanna Greenway Partnership. So we're well aware of what Jerry was briefing you on and how how the thinking and design process and coordination has to occur to get that kind of project done.
Thank you. That's good to know. Makes me very hopeful.
Yes.
Let me tell you from the administrative standpoint, like I'm working with another lobbying group, and they've literally hand walked me through the process of getting 4.8, about 3.9 mil, and it's almost a done deal. And that's just since I started through the COVID times. It was the technical stuff was easy for me because I'm familiar with it, but it was cupcake. And now we're going down in maybe next month to to DC to meet with some senators and House representatives for that. So they are extremely valuable.
I think the rest of the administration has got to understand that we do need our lobbyists.
Yes.
And Penn Strategies is state, and they do a lot of state programs. And not to have them on contract, we might, we're going to lose sight of what we can accomplish here. There's a lot that we can utilize them for, and it's not being done. It really isn't being done.
So I have a quick question here for Mr. First. When you mentioned that 3.5 million, that's a line item for a Gracias run.
How much was it
Yes.
again? How much was that again?
3.5 million.
3.5 mil?
Yeah, and it's in a capital budget right now, so that's kind of a wish list at this point. But Mr. First, would that be administered through DEP, or is that not in a specific grant program?
No, it would actually be administered through DEP.
Okay, and then my follow-up question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, that was the reason. It was because of the work we have been doing with Doug Hill and his familiarity with this project, which Bonnie goes back like 4 or 5 years. He's worked with us and helped us be a radar. And as soon as he saw it, he called me this morning and said, "Look at page 477 on the capital budget itemized report. There's 3.5 million in there for you guys, for the city."
So
then we had a chat about the strategies of making sure that we secure that money and not lose it in the process that you're referring to about how do things not happen. He's very interested in this project.
So speaking to that, is that the same? I remember when Jason and I sat down and talked about this a number of months ago. The way back when we could sit down and talk about things. We talked about DEP. It was in a funding source wherein DEP was allowing us to have input, us being the city, input in as to what the mitigation strategy would be. Is it still in that place? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Then, yeah.
The first thing that would have to happen, and with the additional money, if we get it, it makes it easier. We originally had a little over $1 million, and most of that was going to be used by DEP to use their own internal engineering or subcontract engineering to come up and give the city options. Do we want to impound the water above, which the issue would be Loyalsock Township? Do we want to increase the flow acceptance at the culverts? Do we want to put in a clearing racking system that's automatic as opposed to where we are right now? Do we want to put in some kind of water volume monitoring system that alerts the city, hey, there's a lot of water coming down here, you better get up here or be aware? That was apparently taken out years back. So to be specific to your point, the initial monies have to develop an engineering study that allows the city to look at cost and benefit of various options.
Okay. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Any other questions? I think what we have to do is we have to sit down with the mayor and plead with him to put you back on retainer. Okay, so this can be done. I will do that ASAP. Okay, tomorrow I will talk to him. And other than that, I thank you. I guess Jason had to leave because I don't see him on the screen.
I'm here.
But Sid,
Bonnie,
thank you so. Yes.
You you and your committee, I encourage you to reach out to Shannon Rossman.
I intend to call her
It's
tomorrow to
been
set
a
up a
long
meeting.
time. Yeah, it's been a long time since we heard what was going on.
Especially
And the city
since
is the most-
Chelsea left.
Yeah, exactly. Without Chelsea, and Shannon has, I saw their she sent out a memo, maybe you saw that, Bonnie, where they were indicating who was going to be assigned what. John got this, but Shannon has responsibility for the levy thing. And that's good. I mean, she's certainly a very capable person. But where are we? Because Williamsport is the most vulnerable here, not South
Exactly.
Williamsport.
Well, I will get in touch with her tomorrow and make sure you, John Sanders, and
Yeah.
the rest of the committee are informed of where we're standing, that we sit down and we have a meeting as soon as possible, because we haven't had one in
Yeah.
quite a while.
We actually do have.
No, and I'm
John,
Go
what are you
ahead.
saying?
We actually do. You don't hear them, but we actually have been. I'm looking at a 4-page Greater Williamsport Levy Area Project Status Report right here, right in front of me. As somebody was rattling off $1 million, I was going down through them. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. I have it right in front of me.
So they've been meeting.
What's the date of that? What's the date of that, John?
Sure. That was, give me a minute. I got it stored in my 8,000 files, email folders.
They were supposed to put dates on those reports.
Yeah, hold on a sec. I will tell you. That was on 5/27. A couple weeks ago.
27th of May?
Yes.
Well, that's good.
Yep, that was the last one that Chelsea sent out, and the last one that Chelsea sent out, and she said, "I'm leaving, goodbye," basically.
Yeah, I saw that
All right.
one. That one I did see.
Okay.
I did not see that one. If you
Okay.
guys
I'll
are
forward it to
comfortable
you,
in
Sid.
sending you, then I can look at that report versus the last information I have. But I don't think, the report doesn't really tell us a whole lot about what they're doing to solve the issues that they discussed in the February meeting. And I think it's time for the city to get an update.
I think that's necessary. I think it's a time for us to get back to normal things at this point. So I will call her, let you know. John, please keep us
Yeah.
informed if you hear anything.
Yeah, just to let you know, I don't know about you, I've been pretty informed of not only these monthly updates, but we've been having, up till a couple weeks ago, after we submitted the grant for the 4.8 mil, we were having calls every week or two. All right, and pulling all the documents together, we submitted it, and yeah. So,
Well, please keep Penn Strategies informed, because they've had their finger in this from the get-go.
okay.
Okay? They really
Yeah,
have.
I don't, I guess my exit comment is, it was, my frustration is, with all of the background that we accumulated over 2 years, we've been cut off from any communication. So our value is diminished as being a partner to the city. Well, we have a contract problem, but I think
have
we
no problem
can
sharing information. I have no problem sharing the information,
Yeah.
but without you being under contract now, am I permitted to? Am I allowed to?
I understand.
I don't know. I'm
Exactly.
asking Connie, am I allowed to share these status updates without them being under, I don't know.
This I want to find out. I want to get this straightened out immediately.
You know, I'll
I
have to
really
talk,
do.
Bonnie. Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Well,
Okay,
I'm
and
glad-
thank you guys.
let me say, I'm really happy that communication has continued between the county and the city. We just
Oh, yeah.
lost any visibility of that.
Yes, it seems like it, yeah, unfortunately.
Good. Thank you very much for everything. And next thing on the agenda is, Chris, did Kayla disappear?
It appears as though she did. Let me.
I'll be right back.
Okay, John.
Yeah, like 30 seconds.
Bonnie, this has been a very good committee meeting in lieu of being able to do it face to face. I congratulate everybody as to how they've gotten involved with this.
It's a challenge.
Mrs. Katz,
Yes,
Kayla's gonna get back on the meeting.
okay,
Just be mindful that at 4 o'clock, the ad hoc committee is supposed to
it
start.
starts at 4. Okay, we'll give her a brief 10 minutes, okay? And have her come back to the next Public Works meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
I see her name, but is she live?
Hello.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sorry about the length of this. What we're going to do is we're going to talk for 10 minutes because of the ad hoc meeting that's coming up next, and bring you back at the next Public Works meeting. What
Okay.
the mayor and city council wanted to do was to start seeing about maybe what we're going to do with the parks.
Yes.
Do you
So
have
right
any?
now, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kayla. You're the one with the info.
So right now I am partnering with the food bank, and we are doing a summer lunch program, which I usually offer through my summer camp, but since summer camp is canceled for this season, I'm still offering the kids in the community lunches at Shaw Park and Briscoe Park every Tuesday and Thursday, starting June 16th and running the length of the summer. And then at the end of the summer, we are trying to, well, I should say the end of every month, we're trying to be able to offer them a family food bag as well. So like a parent or guardian would show up with them and be able to take home a box full of food for the household.
Fantastic.
And our recreation commission, we were supposed to meet yesterday. Only 3 of us showed up. Some people were out of town. Some people had family obligations. So they are looking at, I asked them to brainstorm about different ideas. So they're looking at trying to host something similar down along as of Joe Garrison Day.
Right.
But not to the fullest extent of Joe Garrison, because the foundation has also reached out to me and wants us to still host Joe Garrison Day.
Have you gotten in touch with the master gardeners that maybe could help with some planning stuff in the parks with kids?
I have not at this moment.
You know, it might behoove you because they don't charge anything for this.
Okay.
Okay. I know some of the council people have come up with some ideas and would love to run some of them by you at one point. I think they were filtering them through Randy. Okay.
Okay.
And I really would like you to have some of this information that might be helpful. I think everybody is looking to have something being done in the parks. I guess nobody's saying anything about the pool, I take it, right?
I've got a lot of calls throughout the day of everybody calling in, and I actually just got a phone call about 20 minutes ago, and I guess somebody said that, I guess it's the word spreading around Williamsport, that somebody said that the mayor changed his mind and we are reopening the pool, which is not in fact true. There's no way I can open the pool. I don't have guards, I don't have staff.
Okay, so that's a definite, it's not going to happen this year at all.
Not going to happen this year at all.
Okay, but we can do some.
I've had a lot of people, guards, that their certification ran out, that expired, and there's no way for the American Red Cross to come and recertify them. And then most of my guards are minors, and their parents don't want to risk them an exposure. God forbid they have to do a hands-on-hand life saving in the deep end or anything of that nature.
Gotcha. But we can bring some of the park programs back into play, can't we?
Yes, I can bring, like you said, I can bring the master gardeners in and come in and do different parks. I still have Lowe's Playground that has that community garden at the back near on the corner, like near Greer and Chester or Chestnut.
Right.
I
Right.
can like get those and do whether a local business wants to sponsor a garden bed and have the kids around that area come and learn how to plant their own garden and vegetables and whatnot.
I mean, there's a lot of things maybe we can get the community involved in. I know kids would also like to know how to maybe cook a meal also.
Yeah. So last year we had, I forget who it was. They came and they taught them, like, you were able to go home when it's called a pizza garden. It's the herbs and spices, everything you're able to plant in your backyard, so that way you could make your own pizza at home.
Terrific. These are the things that, you know, and you would have people on board for people to work for the park programs. Would they be available?
Yes, I am partnered with Step AmeriCorps, which, Bonnie, as you know, that's how I came in through the city.
Right.
So they are partnering with me through the summer lunch program, and because that's only 2 days a week. If I can offer anything else for the park program, they are more than welcome to and willing to participate and offer their services.
Fantastic. Well, how soon do you think we could start bringing things to the public, that they know what's going on?
I have the summer lunch program. All those flyers and advertisements are going to be done by tomorrow, end of this week at the very latest. And as far as getting a hold of Master Gardens and everything, if I can get a hold of them and get everything planned and all the information, I can make them distribute those flyers, and everything can start beginning of next week.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. I think that would be great.
Bonnie,
Yes.
just in case Kayla's not aware of it, the fellow who was just on our call, Sid First, is a master gardener.
Oh my goodness, that's right. That's right, he is. Anything from Vince or David?
No, I don't have anything at this time, Bonnie.
No.
I did, however, hear a rumor that Loyalsock was going to open their public pool. Maybe that's why there was some confusion about Williamsport opening their pool.
Loyalsock opened their pool Friday, June 5th with some restrictions. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but Loyalsock charges a different price than we did. Williamsport, we just did a flat rate, no matter what residence you lived in. Loyalsock, if you're a non-resident, they charge more, and they're at a capacity, everybody's at a capacity modification. But if you're not in the same household as certain people, then they only let so many people in. And when you're in the water, there's new CDC restrictions that you can't be within so many feet of the next person.
Right.
That kind of takes the fun out of it, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely does. And then they were saying that you're not supposed to open the slides right now or the diving well, because there's no way to sanitize after every single person that wants to go off the diving board or down the slide.
Can understand that one too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a slow open, and like they have that walk-in ramp. You have to sanitize that, so they have a guard right there, anyways. So they're constantly wiping it down as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, can we have you come back at our next Public Works meeting with updates of what's going on with the rec department?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Kayla, sorry I kept you so long with everything, but there were such great discussions with different things that we needed for the city today. And, you know, everything's important, including you. And it's like, oh my goodness.
That's all right. I completely understand.
You know, it's like, oh my God, we're trying to get everything, you know, normal again, you know, and it's trying to play catch up also.
And this is our new norm.
So we'll get back to you to make sure you're on Public Works next month. Okay, and in 2 weeks, I mean. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any other items to discuss?
No, just thanks to everyone for your patience through all this.
Well, I need a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Second.
Second? Do you have a second, Dave?
Second. Yeah. Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're on to the ad hoc meeting next. Okay. Jerry, thank you very